Good evening, ladies. Can everybody hear me? Here we go. Can you guys hear me? Somebody tell me yes or no. Hi. Hi, Reda. Good evening. No, ladies, yesterday we did not have a session. I apologize for that confusion. I canceled the session in a post and then I forgot to cancel the reminder post. Those reminder posts are pre-scheduled ahead of time, so they're already in place. They're automated, and I forgot that there was an automated reminder post going out that I should have gone in manually and canceled. So that's why some of you were confused. But there was no session. So there was no replay. So don't worry if you thought you missed something yesterday, you didn't. I'm going to make up what it was I needed to do. All is good, Red. I had to attend a school meeting that I had misscheduled, school meeting for my son, college applications and things like that. Didn't want to miss it. All right, so today we're going to cover yesterday's topic, which was the next steps, what happens after Friday. And then obviously we need to cover today's subject, which is the thought model. I'm going to start with the thought model because it takes a little bit longer. Talking about next steps is not complicated. So in your email today, I had asked you please to bring a pen and paper. So please take that out now if you have it. If you don't, take a moment to go grab. This has to be, I guess you could do it on your phone, but I like to do it written. So go and grab something to write with. While you do that, let me talk a little bit about the thought model and why we're doing it. So everything that you want to do in your life, whether it's related to your health, whether it's related to your relationships, whether it's related to your professional life, like any step that you take, any action that you take is preceded by a thought. Typically, you might not be conscious of this, but that's how it works. You think of something, it evokes a kind of a feeling in you, and then the next step is that you take action on that feeling and you end up with a certain result. That's sort of how the process goes when we want to do something. What you need to understand about your thoughts is you have something like 60,000, anywhere between 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts that go through your head, excuse me, every single day. 60 to 80,000 thoughts. And as you can imagine, you are not aware of every single one of those thoughts. They just go through your head. And the ones that you are aware of, the ones that you sort of catch and maybe act on, are not necessarily true. You think they're true because you think, well, if I'm thinking it, then it must be my reality. It must be something significant, it must be something real. But just because you're thinking something doesn't mean it's the only version of truth out there. And so what happens is the thoughts that you actually are aware of, plus a lot of thoughts that go through your head that are subconscious, these are all determining how you behave in life. These are all determining the kinds of results that you're getting in your life, in every single area of your life. And if you're not aware, like I was never aware of this until I was taught this, like I didn't come up with this thought model. This is something I learned through all my years of coaching. When you become aware that you have control over your thoughts, not only to focus on the thoughts that can serve you, but to catch those thoughts that are not serving you and to actually change them into thoughts that can get you the results that you want is nothing short of completely life-changing. So you can, have the best health plan, you can have the best business plan, you can have the best intentions for every single area of your life. But if you don't have this one tool, and if you're not aware of this, the power of you to transform your thoughts at any given point in time, you're missing a great advantage in your life and then sort of get sucked into just believing everything your brain tells you and just living by that. Now, that doesn't mean that every single thought you have needs to be changed or needs to be focused on or needs to be figured out. What we want to do is take the thoughts that are currently not serving you. So I'm sure we all have thoughts that are working just fine for us, that are giving us the results in our life that are the results that we want, are the results that are serving us. But there are areas in our life, if you feel like there's a part of your life where you keep hitting a wall, or like no matter what you do, you keep wishing for a different result, but no matter what you do, you keep getting the same result, which is the result you don't want, like constantly just coming up against a wall, that means the origin of that issue and the reason you're not getting the result in that part of your life is the way you're thinking about it. And you can change that. So this is what we're going to do today. It'll be more obvious to you as I go through the exercise with you, and we'll take some examples, and some of you will share, and we'll do real life examples so you can get it. But it is basically, the thought model is a tool to transform a thought, because we're only going to do one thought at a time, transform a thought that is currently not serving you in your life, in any part of your life. All right. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to take your paper, you're going to divide it down the middle, a line straight down the middle. And then on both sides, you're going to start by writing circumstance at the top, and then thought, and then feeling, and then action or inaction, and then result. And in the column right next to it, you're going to write the same things again. So you're just going to write those same sets of words twice. So circumstance, thought, feeling, action or inaction, and result. So this exercise requires you to work through it 2 times. On this side where you see the arrows going down, this is where you're going to take a situation in your life and you're going to describe it the way it's currently showing up in your life. And then the other way is the transformative column, which is the way we're going to change it. So what is a circumstance? You always start with a circumstance. A circumstance could be a person, it could be a situation, it could be a world event, it could be a place. A situation is something that you cannot change. Think you can change it many times, but you cannot change it. So you cannot change human beings. You can't make them do things you want them to do. You cannot change events. You cannot change places, right? A circumstance is something that just is. And everything else following it is your thought about the circumstance, your feeling about the circumstance, etc. So in both instances, as we do this exercise, the thoughts and the feelings and the actions and the results, these are going to change. But the circumstance in both columns is going to stay the same. It doesn't change. And the reason for that is, think of a circumstance like a movie. Let's say you and like 5 of your friends go to the movies, right? The same movie, but there's 5 of you who go, and you all come out of the movie, and one of you thinks, oh, this was an amazing movie. And one of you thinks, oh my God, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. And one of you doesn't understand it at all. And one of you thinks it was so sad. And another one thinks it was so happy. But it's the same movie. So I want you to think of the circumstance like that. It's non-changing. So what we're working on is not to change what's happening around us, not to change the people who might be triggering us, not to change the events around us, world events, events happening in your home. That's not going to change. Our goal here is to take control of our thoughts and our feelings and our behaviors around that circumstance. Who wants to volunteer so I can better explain this with a real example? No judgment here, anything, ladies. We're just going to go through it so you can understand, because this is something you want to practice independently. Anybody, don't be afraid, ladies. The circumstance can also be, like I said, anything. Like this program can be a circumstance, right? And all of you have had a certain specific thought about this program, different one. The circumstance can be your spouse. The circumstance can be your job. It can be your boss. It can be world events. It can be a crisis. It can be anything at all where you are having a thought about it, and then the result is something that's not working for you in your life. Amira, is your hand raised?
Yeah, I would say I could volunteer if no
Oh,
one else
okay.
wants to volunteer.
Amazing. Let's go. What
But
is your,
something that's not very personal, but affects me personally.
it can be personal and can be like a world event, for example, is not something that is personal, but still affects you, right? It can affect your day
Yeah.
to day. So it can literally run the gauntlet from the extreme personal to something that literally has nothing to do with you at the other end of the world.
Okay, so we'll go with something that's not personal, so it won't be
No,
too
but if you
vulnerable.
want to do something personal, we can.
No, I don't want to.
Oh,
It's too
okay.
vulnerable, but
Okay, Mish.
hmm.
So you tell me, what's the circumstance?
The circumstance is that I live in most of you probably know an area called Maadi, which has a beautiful history and still has many beautiful areas, but it's dilapidating rapidly. And I've been fighting, trying to control people throwing trash on the street or people bringing stuff in from there's a commercial street close to where I live. And there's this one corner where every
Okay,
morning I walk down. Okay.
let's just break it down slowly. So the circumstance is
Mm,
Maadi. That's the circumstance. It's the place, right?
yeah.
You don't have control over the place necessarily. You have thoughts and feelings about the place. Okay.
Mhm.
So we're going to start with that. That's it. And when you're doing this exercise, you want to keep it as concise as possible, right? So when you say, what is my circumstance? And right away you thought it's ma'adi, and you went into this is what's wrong and this is what's happening. You want to make it very simple for your brain to break down. So the circumstance is just ma'adi. Usually the circumstance is one word: person, place, or thing. Think of it that way. Okay.
Okay.
So and you've had right now, just in the 2 seconds you were speaking, you've expressed many thoughts about ma'adi. When
Mm-hmm.
you're doing this exercise, you want to choose one thought. One. You can
Mm.
do this, you can repeat this for every single thought that you have about Maadi. Okay. But in order for your brain, your critter brain also to get on board to transform this thought, it can't deal with a million thoughts at the same time. So, of all the thoughts, and you can list them and then you can choose which one you want, but you always want to focus on one thought only. All right. So, tell me what you think about Maadi currently.
Well, I love it, and I think it has so much potential to
Okay.
kind of hang on to its beauty, but I mean, not everybody obviously feels that way. A lot of people are not maybe educated well enough or don't see that aspect of things. So I'm struggling with a particular area where people throw trash, and it's really bothering me. So,
Okay. So, I'm struggling. That's a thought.
yes.
Other people don't share my appreciation for Maadi. That's another
Mm-hmm.
thought. Which one of those is the one you'd like us to work with?
Hmm. I think me struggling.
Okay, that's perfect. So that is a thought. I
Mm-hmm.
am struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect thought. So how does that make you feel, this thought?
Demotivated,
Again, choose one.
stressed,
Choose one feeling.
scared.
Scared. Okay. And then what ends up happening when you're scared? What do you do?
I start thinking of the worst case scenario that it completely dilapidates, and then it's not a place where I could live anymore. And
Hmm.
so it's just bad thoughts about the future, or feeling like I should be doing things that I'm not necessarily doing.
So you don't really do anything. You don't really do anything proactive with the scared feeling necessarily.
Not with the scared feeling. I do
Right.
something proactive with trying to eliminate that action, but it's
So
still scary.
let's work with this one thing at a time so that you get really focused, right? So the circumstance is ma'adi. Your thought about ma'adi is I am struggling. I'm
Yes.
struggling bubbles up the feeling of I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
And typically, for any situation, can anybody take action from a place of fear? generally speaking?
No,
Can anybody take positive action from a place of fear?
no.
No. So what's
But
happening?
wouldn't that be the fight or flight mode that you talked about in
It
the
that
hormones?
could be. Yes, it could be. So when you're really scared, okay, and you're struggling and you're scared, it shuts down that part of your brain that can necessarily maybe give you ideas because
Mm,
fear just blocks it. So what ends up happening is you're not necessarily then doing anything to help the situation. You continue in the cycle of being worried. That's what you do. You get worried, you think maybe I need to move. You don't, the end result is what when you're scared?
I guess it takes away, the negative energy takes from the potential that I have. Like I do something proactive,
Yep,
but it still doesn't eliminate the fear, maybe, or maybe the creativity of thinking of other ways to do something.
exactly. So fear tends to just create more fear. And then you lose the ability to think creatively and proactively. So actually, what ends up happening is your ma'adi stays the way it is, and you end up feeling still like you're struggling and still feeling scared. All
Mhm.
right. So we're going to work it the other way around now in the other column. Okay. So the circumstance is still ma'adi, hasn't changed. Okay. So what is the result that you want? We start with the result. We start from the end up,
Mm. I want a clean, beautiful neighborhood that's very organic. Like that's not gated, that's not, that's just
let's say clean, beautiful neighborhood. That's a clean,
hmm
beautiful Maadi.
hmm
Okay. And maybe not all of Maadi, let's be very specific. You would be very happy with just your little particular nook in Maadi, maybe.
Yeah,
Ideally,
probably,
all of
but
it.
of
Ideally,
course,
all
yeah.
of it, right? Okay.
Yes.
So in order for that to happen, what action do you have to take?
That's what I'm struggling with. I do take action and participate in community service associations that try to do the work, but we're such a small number that I feel like we need to galvanize more people or
So
talk to people about the,
again, choose one that you think would give you the biggest result or the closest result.
hmm, it's either to educate or to galvanize more people who are, because I know people care, they're just not, they don't know what to do.
Right?
um, or choose the other option of trying to educate those who are throwing the trash, which are usually not the residents, but
Okay, choose one.
educate, which is harder.
It doesn't matter right now, but which is the one in your gut feels like the action that's going to give you the result?
Ideally, I would prefer educate because that's like you're
Okay.
solving another problem as well by, hmm.
How does that make you feel?
If I actually did that.
Just right now, the thought that you can potentially go and educate, what's the feeling that that brings up within you?
Hopeful.
Hopeful, amazing. Hopeful is way ahead of scared, isn't it?
Hmm.
You can work from a place of hope. You can't work from a place of fear. So what's the thought? We have to now still we haven't changed the thought. So if you're hopeful, what do you think the thought is going to be that's going to create the feeling of hope?
Mm, maybe a sense of agency, feeling empowered that I could do it.
Don't confuse thoughts with feelings. So feeling
Mm,
is I'm hopeful, I'm scared. Okay, a
okay.
thought is there's no feelings when you're talking about a thought. It's more of a
Hmm.
statement.
Okay. So, just to clarify,
Yeah.
on the other side of the column where my thought was I'm struggling,
Yeah.
that's not necessarily a feeling.
No. That's a like an action in action. It's a thought. Struggle is a thought, like I am challenged or I can't do it or this is hard or this is too much. Those are thoughts. The
Okay.
feeling is the literal emotion
So
around
the
it.
thought is like I have to devise a plan, or is that
Ah,
action?
that is a thought. I have
Okay.
to. devise a plan. That's a
Hmm.
thought. And does that thought, when you say it to yourself, does that bring up the hopeful feeling?
Yeah, until of course I think about like how am I gonna come up with the plan and then
Well,
yeah,
nothing.
but
Right now, we're just trying to shift the energy, right? Because anything we
yeah.
do in life comes from a feeling. And
Hmm.
we cannot execute if we're feeling scared or tired or worried or anxious. And that
Yes.
comes from the initial thought. So just by saying, I am struggling, and you change that to, I need to devise a plan, you can see
Hmm.
the difference in the two thoughts. The situation, the circumstance hasn't changed.
Yes.
How are you going to come up with the plan? Who's going to help you with the plan? How are you going to implement the plan? That's a whole other, that's a whole other story. But you wouldn't have even thought of that if you were still in, I'm struggling and I'm scared.
Yeah, I see that.
You see that?
Yes.
Now, whatever you just, as you were talking, you had a lot of thoughts about this. You can
Mhm.
literally do every single thought singularly and work through it and see which one. I mean, this one is a starting point. You can see which one maybe even narrows it down further for you to the one that really gives you the action and the result that you want.
So the whole key, from what I understand, is to start with the end in mind. We started with the result of
Yeah, you
whatever it is.
all
Mhm.
exactly. You always have to start with where you're currently at, acknowledge that, be aware of that, note it, like here's where my thoughts are now. You can't do the second part without doing the first part. So you always have to start with, okay, here's the current thought that's getting in my way. And then you start with the result first and work your way back up in the second column.
But then the circumstance you said could always be the same. And my hope is I'm trying to maybe change that circumstance.
Maadi is the circumstance. So Maadi is not going anywhere, right? So you're not
So not like a pile of trash in my ID or a dead tree in it's
yeah,
my ID okay.
yeah, yeah. That
So the
yeah,
circumstance will stay the same.
yeah. Doesn't change.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, as I know you don't want me to hear this say this, but some people are going to look at Maddie and think, oh, it's beautiful and perfect. Where's the problem?
Yeah.
Right? So giving it a description or an adjective is not going to help you because you can take five different people, somebody who doesn't have your standard of cleanliness and organization is going to come to Maadi coming maybe from another village or something in Egypt and think Maadi is like Paris,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So it's all about perspective. You're just shifting your perspective. Maadi is still Maadi. And you're going to see it one way and somebody else is going to see it another way. We're not arguing that. We're arguing your perspective on Maadi, your dream and hope for Maadi, and how you can work towards that.
Now it makes absolute sense. That's not a difficult exercise, by the way.
No, it's not. It's not difficult at all. Actually, when I first learned it like 6 years ago, it was recommended to us to sort of take a little notebook around with you during the day and as just to get into the practice of it. Once you get into the practice of it, it can literally take you 2 minutes to shift your perspective on something. It's not difficult at
Wow.
all, but incredibly powerful.
You called this a thought what?
It's called, I didn't call it, I didn't make this up. It's called the thought model.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who else wants to go? Hind, is this you?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Hi. Dina.
Hi.
How
What's
are you?
your what's your circumstance?
Money.
Money. All right.
Mhm.
Okay. And what's your current thought about money?
Um, the main thought is that I always don't have enough money or I'm broke.
Choose one. Which one is it?
Um, I'll actually choose another thought. I'm a failure.
Oh, okay. I'm a failure. And how does
Yeah,
that feel?
that's the root. Yeah, exactly.
How does that make you feel?
Feeling fear.
It makes you feel fear. That you're a
Yes.
failure or that you don't have money?
That I'm a failure, so I won't have enough money, so I'll be broke. So
Okay.
the emotion is fear.
So I'm a failure leads to fear again.
Yes.
Okay. And what do you do when you're afraid, when you're scared? Do you go out and figure out how to make more money, or what do you do when you're afraid?
I usually distract myself.
How?
Um, I can watch something, for instance, like distract myself with a movie, with a whatever.
So
So
entertainment.
yeah, exactly.
Distraction with entertainment. And
Yeah,
then what's the result?
nothing changes.
Nothing. Right. Okay. Let's go to the other side. What is the
Okay.
result you want?
Um, to be abundant, financially abundant.
Financially abundant. All right. And what has to happen? What kind of action do you have to take in order to be financially abundant?
Um, that's where I'm stuck.
Okay. Think about it. We can also, when you're doing this, ladies, and let's say you are doing it backwards and you do get, and you are doing it backwards and you feel stuck on the action, you can move it up a bit and think and go with the thought first. Okay. So let's say your current thought is, I am struggling, and the struggle makes you feel scared. You don't end up doing anything. Instead of figuring out how to become financially abundant, you distract yourself with entertainment, so nothing changes. All right. So,
Yes.
what is a different thought that you can have besides I'm a failure
Hmm.
around money?
Uh, I'm highly creative.
Oh, perfect. I am highly creative. How does that make you feel?
Uh, Open.
And when you're open, what are you going to do?
Um, Explore more options.
Explore more options. And what are those options going to give you eventually?
The financial abundance.
How does that feel for you?
Relieving.
Okay, right? So with
Yeah.
one closed off completely, no potential, no ideas, no exploration, nothing, no possibility. And the other one, you've opened yourself up. You are giving the instruction to your brain that instead of I am a failure, which again closes off all options because failures can't
Yes.
do anything, you're giving your brain the instruction instead that I am creative. And your brain
Yes.
is always waiting for instruction. It's going to believe anything you tell it. When you tell it I'm a
Mm.
failure, it's going to believe that. When you tell it I am creative, it's going to believe that.
Yes.
And it will open up. When you have the feeling of hope, right? The,
Mm.
when we're trying to shift the thoughts so we can shift the feelings, because feelings have energies. You might have heard about this, right? They have
Yes.
vibrations. So the lower
Mm.
end of the emotional spectrum, starting with things like grief, sorrow, sadness, fear. These are very what we call low vibration emotions. They create very low, there's nothing sort of to rev up your engine to do anything
Yes.
with it. And then the top of that is joy, right? The highest energetic emotion is joy, happiness. And I can share that scale in the group if you guys want. So the idea is to be in an energetic emotion, a vibration that stimulates you to take action. It's very difficult to take action from fear, sadness, grief. These are very, doesn't mean that these emotions on the end of that scale, the lower vibration scale, it doesn't mean that these emotions are not relevant. It doesn't mean that they don't serve a purpose in our life. Every single emotion serves a purpose. But we just have to be aware that as we're going through seasons, our life has seasons, right? When you're in a moment or period of grief or sadness, you can transform it, But acknowledge that you probably need to go through that period as well, but it's not the period of time where you're going to be creative or you're going to be hopeful. So don't push yourself when you're in that period of life. Once you come out of it, or you're ready to come out of it, or you're not in it, but you're sort of in the middle vibrations, right? Like, the middle ones are more like, distant, disconnected. You're neither really sad, but you're not really happy either. Those are the ones that we can elevate and raise the energies and the vibrations more easily. When you want to change something in your life, a big change, it's never going to come from the lower vibrational energies. So the idea behind changing the thought is so that you can change the feeling. You can change the vibration in your body to one that can lead you to take the action that will give you the result you want.
But if I'm at the place where I'm really feeling low, should I also work with that model or not?
I would definitely. But here's the thing. You want to work up the scale. So like, let's say you're at grief. You're not going to go from grief to joy in one thought model. You probably
Yes.
have to work your way up. Like, what's one step up from grief? What's one step up from fear? What's one step up? And I don't remember the scale off the top of my head. I'll share it in the group. You'll see sort of how it goes up. If you're really on the lower end of the vibrational emotions, you will have to slowly work your way up. So what's one thing I can do to work myself just up to the next emotion?
Yeah.
And that will
Okay.
take time.
Okay. Thank you, Dana.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Right.
Reda. Yes, I will share. Ladies, tag me in the group so I can share the emotional scale. Is this making sense to everybody? Does anybody have a question about it? You can literally do this with anything in your life, okay? And actually, your assignment for the next week is to do one, and share it on the group just so I can make sure you're doing it correctly. It can be about anything. You want to get into the habit. This is one of those habits, just like drinking your juices, just like eating your foods. This is something that is so key because it goes to the core of how we do anything in our lives. Right. So even this detox, if you come into it from a place of being cynical, like, I don't know if this is really going to work, very different from coming into it from a place of excitement and being open and ready for the change. Very different energies that will give you very different results. So go back and watch this if you need to understand how to do it. Let me know if you have any questions, but by all means, share a thought model example on the group just so I can make sure that you're doing it correctly. Because sometimes it takes a few tweaks and a little, practice this, change that, and then it clicks. And like Amita said, it's super easy once it clicks. Sharifa, I came a little late. Can you please tell me briefly what we are doing? So go back and watch this class again, Sharifa. Briefly, I'm teaching you a tool called the thought model, which is how to transform any kind of thought that you may be having in your life that's not serving you. And we had two great examples, one from Amira, one from Hind. So please go back and watch the replay so you can understand that. And if you have any questions about it, then please come back and ask me. Celine, does it work with phobias? Up 100%. Yeah, anything. Anything. Doesn't mean your phobia is going to be transformed in 2 minutes, but it gives you a different perspective, right? Because a phobia, I mean, what is a phobia other than a really extreme emotion about something, a really extreme thought about something? So definitely. Fear of flying. Yeah. Yeah. Anything. That's a great one. Do you want to do that right now, Celine, like with the group, or do you want to try that one on your own? Okay, so let's do it. So
It's
basically,
okay if it's okay if I don't put my camera
yeah, it's
ولا
fine.
عايزين ممكن احطها يعني بس يعني
So
okay
basically, your circumstance is airplanes, okay? Because not
yeah
everything
yeah
is not fear of flying. That's your thought or your feeling around it. Your circumstance is airplanes, okay?
mm-hmm.
So what's the first thought you have about airplanes? A thought, not a feeling.
a thought
Yeah.
معرفش انا كل اللي جاي في مخي دلوقتي ان انا I hate them
I hate them.
بكرههم.
That's a thought. I hate
Okay.
them. Okay. You hate them. And how does that make you feel?
Um, بصي هو when I think about the plane عامة بكرهها therefore I don't want to travel وأنا أصلا I don't live in Egypt وطول النهار في الطيارات.
Okay. Okay, so let's go with the thought, which is I don't want to travel. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And we could
بس
work
I do travel على
yeah, we
فكرة.
could work with either one.
Okay.
Let's work with I hate airplanes. And then we can always try the other one. Here's a great thing about this exercise. Like it's so fluid, right? You can do it and then you do and you realize that's not really the result I want. Scratch it and start over. Okay. So I hate airplanes. That's your thought. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel ان انا مش عايزة اسافر ان السفر تقيل قوي عليا every single time.
That's a thought, not an emotion.
طيب feel emotion. بخاف عامة من يعني بخاف خوف
Fear.
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 Yeah.
So what happens with the fear?
بصي when I feel ان انا I'm afraid to take the plane ال ugly plane it limits me في السفر.
Okay.
It's something that cannot be in my life because I don't live in Egypt. So I have to be on a plane at least 3 times a year.
Okay. So the action is you don't travel as much. Is that correct?
No, I don't travel willingly. خليني بتبقى سفرية لازم.
I
have to,
don't
so I
travel willingly. Okay.
خالص.
Okay. So what's the end result when you don't travel willingly?
عايزة الحقيقة
Yeah, it has to
باخد
be.
باخد مهدئ في طيارة.
Okay.
Other than that, I will not travel.
Take medications.
Okay. باخد مهدئ.
So let's flip it. What is your ideal result with this? It's still an airplane. The airplane hasn't changed. What would you love to happen?
To travel willingly without having every time to think about it قبليها بأسبوعين واقعد بقى شايلة هم وهسافر وهيحصل ايه والدواء خلص الحقوني كده بقى.
Okay, travel
stress
willingly
free يعني.
without overthinking, etc.
stress free. نفسي تبقى عارفة الناس اللي هم بيسافروا مبسوطين ان هم مسافرين نفسي اكون من الناس دول.
So you want to travel stress free, right?
بالظبط.
Okay. So what has to happen? What's the action? We can start with a thought. If you can't think of the action, we can go further up and start with a thought. In order for you to travel stress-free, right now you think hate airplanes. What's another thought you can have about airplanes?
In order to ان انا اسافر stress free افكر في thought positive يعني about the طيارة ولا ايه؟
Something that's not I hate airplanes. Choose a different thought.
يعني هو الصوت اللي الناس بتقوله لي اللي انا بحاول افكر فيه ان الطيارات are the safest way to travel مثلا.
Okay. Airplanes are safest mode of travel. How does that make you feel?
يعني بصي انا على طول بفكر فيها يعني قبل ما اسافر بحاول احط نفسي في الموضوع بس يعني how does it make me feel when I say it؟
Don't overthink it.
إن
When somebody says airplanes are the safest mode of travel, how does that make you feel?
I don't know يعني ما بتفرقش معايا انا بالنسبه لي okay it's the safest بس I can't help the feeling when I'm inside.
Okay, so that thought is irrelevant to you.
بالظبط.
That's not the
كل
thought.
حاجه. Yeah.
Okay, so that's not the thought that's going to transform this process. So
Okay.
what is a thought that will transform this process for you?
I think going to therapy or doing something about it حاجة يعني physical مش thoughts بقى وكتير أنا حاولت أصلي حاجات كتير مفيش حاجة نفعت.
Okay.
وحاولت I tried كمان إن a type of therapy برضو ما نفعتش فحاسة إن أنا خلاص خليني في المهدئ خلاص.
It might be, right? It might be that you've actually reached your best case scenario with this, okay? But take some time today and tomorrow and think about a
Okay.
thought about
Mm.
airplanes that
Okay.
ultimately want to change your feeling from fear.
Mm.
Okay, مش هقول لك excitement. Okay,
Okay.
مش هقول لك, go from fear to you can't wait to get on the plane. Okay, but what is a feeling that you would be satisfied with to get on a plane? Like, what's just one step up from fear that you would be, you know what? This is a lot better than how I used to feel before.
بصي الستريس اللي بعيش فيه قبل السفر بكتير، يعني نفسي اكون مثلا القلق قبليها بيوم او يومين، او حتى إن يوم السفر مش قبليها بشهر مثلا، عارفه.
Okay, so you want to feel calm.
بالظبط، انه عادي، انه السفر عادي، يعني الناس بتروح وبتيجي عادي، يعني
Okay,
عادي.
okay. So what do you think you have to tell yourself in order to reach that emotion of being calm and traveling is normal? I mean, that's a thought. Traveling is normal, right?
yeah yeah
Does that work for you though, that thought?
بصي هو بيبقى اسهل الثought ده لما بقعد افكر فيه، انه ان انا احاول اهدي نفسي، يعني بعمل حاجات ستابس معينة، انه في سيتس معينة لازم اقعد فيها، يعني there are some stuff that I do for myself to make the process easier.
Okay, so that's a thought. I can make the process easier.
Yeah, so I've been trying to do it. هو انا اتحسنت قوي،
Okay,
بس still مش طبيعي، يعني بس بقيت احسن بكتير يعني.
right. And
بس
thing you don't طبيعي or normal
م-
is very
م-
different from person to person,
م-
right? So we just want to
م-
get to what is the best thought and feeling and result for you,
م-
independent of what you see around you, independent of how you see other people dealing with the same circumstance, right? Because
yeah
300 people can get on a plane. Some of them are like you just don't know it. Some are
yeah
completely nonchalant. They just get on, they sleep before takeoff, ولا كأن, right?
م-
Some people are fine, maybe until there's a little bit of turbulence, okay?
yeah
So
yeah
everybody deals with it a little bit differently. So don't try and compare yourself to how everybody
م-
else is feeling and dealing with the same circumstance. So
yeah
think about it. Take a couple days to
okay
think about it. Maybe it'll come to you tonight. But what is a
okay
thought that you can have about airplanes that
okay
will make you feel potentially calm?
okay
Okay?
افكر بقى في الموضوع.
Think about it. Yeah.
okay
Okay?
okay خلاص.
All right.
Thank you Dana.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Okay.
All right, ladies. So everybody share with me in the next few days an example of your thought model. I want to move on to what we were supposed to talk about yesterday, which is next steps. So all of you are wondering what happens after Friday. Friday marks day 9 only of your detox journey. Today's day 7. So nobody gets healed in 9 days. In case you were thinking that 9 days is all it takes, after Friday, you're off the hook, you're done. Nobody heals in 9 days. Nobody heals in 18 days if you're going to double it. Depending on what your symptoms are, and the more deeply embedded your symptoms are, the longer you've had your symptoms, if you have a specific diagnosed condition, probably been building up in your body for years, it's not going to go away in 9 days. And this is why the program is 3 months. 3 months is the minimum time it takes for you to see significant changes. It doesn't mean you're not going to see subtle changes along the way, but to see a significant change on the average takes 3 months. So after 9 days, we're not going to stop detoxing after Friday. What you will do, though, is based on how you're feeling, based on whether you have a diagnosed condition or not, based on what your gut instinct tells you, you will choose the depth and the intensity and the speed of detoxing at which you want to move forward with. So the 9 days is the deep detox that we're doing. I told you, I think on day 1, that there are other ways of detoxing that are even deeper than this one. But for this program, the 9 days is the deep one. The clean eating that we started off with in the first 3 days is your basic, simple, very slow detox system. There's a third one in your materials. It's called the hybrid cleanse. And this is sort of the middle ground. So it's not as deep as the 9 days, and it's not as slow as the clean eating. You are going to get to choose, because this is part of becoming empowered in your body. I can give you recommendations, but each one of you is going to choose how you want to move forward starting Saturday. Either you're going to repeat the 9 days again, you're going to move into clean eating, or you're going to move into the hybrid. And all of these are interchangeable. So let's say you decide to repeat the 9 days, and then you finish the 9 days, and then you want to go into clean eating. You can do that. Let's say you feel like you need a break from the deep detoxing you've just done. You want to move into clean eating, you want to move into something a little bit slower. And then 2 weeks in, you're like, you know what? I'm feeling the motivation again. I'm feeling like I can do it again. And then you want to do 9 days. You can do that. This is all part and parcel of you can't do this wrong. As long as you have that list of main inflammatory foods out, you can't detox wrong. You will detox at the speed and intensity that works for you. But having said that, I need you to be really honest with yourself. So don't go and choose the slow pace if deep down you know you have a diagnosed condition and it would serve you better to move forward, continue on a deep detox. In the next few days, I'm going to, in your emails, I'll share information and tips for how to make this decision. And obviously, by all means, message me or email me if you need help making that decision for yourself. But I really need you to be honest with yourself about moving forward, because you're the only one in charge of your health. You're the only one responsible for your health. You're the only one who has to deal with the consequences of how you take care of your body. So I just want to reassure you that there's no wrong choice. There's no wrong choice. And you can always change your mind about the speed and the intensity, and that you can't do it wrong. I just need you to be true to yourself and don't kid yourself about which choice is the right one for you. All right? Let me see questions. Reda, I had my lunch very late. Is it okay? Yes, it is. It is okay. Sally, Friday is a working day as I live in Dubai. Any suggestions to simplify preparing the juices for the day? I would make them all the day before, Sally. All of them. Make them tomorrow when you come home from work. Put them in airtight jars. If you have a refrigerator at work, put them in one of like a lunchbox pack or something to keep them fresh. And the ones that you'll have to have at work, obviously have the breakfast ones at home. The ones you'll have to have at work, take them with you, put them in a refrigerator, have them at work. But what's the difference between the clean eating and hybrid? So clean eating has animal protein, has a little bit of the better for you whole grains like lentils. Hybrid has no animal protein. So it's still just fruits and vegetables, but you get a different variety, and you get lots of potatoes, and you get cauliflower rice. You have more smoothies. You also have a little bit more celery juice. The main difference between them is the no protein. But the repetition of 9 days, can I just do all of them as the last 6 days? I really don't feel like incorporating fat. Yes. So some of you might feel like taking it up even more a notch or speeding it up even more. You can do that by repeating the last 3 days of the 9 days. So that would be like from today is day 7, tomorrow's day 8, and then day 9, which is the juicing day. So if you feel so inclined to speed things up, you can also just keep repeating days 7, 8, 9 over and over and over again. And yes, if you don't feel like going all the way, if you're repeating the 9 days, you don't want to repeat the 3 days with animal protein, you can also do just the 6 days of vegetables. Can you explain a bit the hybrid? Hybrid is just an in-between. Because it has potato options and it has, cauliflower and it has celery juice, it gives you less green, let's put it that way, because greens are very detoxing, very straight to the liver. So it's a little bit slower while still detoxing, because potatoes are very detoxing. It's just different vegetables that detox a little bit slower than the greens. Angie, hey Dana, today I went for a long walk for the first time since I started the detox, and I came back. I was very tired, no energy at all. I had to nap for an hour. Should we reduce exercise until the end of the 9 days detox? This is It depends on each one of you, right? So you went for a long walk. How long was it, Benji? Long walk, like an hour? How long was it? Maybe you just need to do shorter time. So if you've taken a little break from working out and you're going back, bring it back in incrementally. Don't go back in, full on right away. Okay, so 1.5 hours. Yeah, do less, Inji. Like I would do 20 minutes the first day and do 20 minutes for a few days, and then do 30 minutes after that for a few days, and then maybe do 40 minutes after that. Work yourself up to it. Amira, gotta run into another meeting. You're welcome. Can we have the juices as many times as we want Friday? Yes. As with anything else, you can repeat all the juices. We're going to talk about the juicing day tomorrow specifically. You can repeat them. You can have more. You can add. So let's say you want to have more orange juice. Let's say you have other fruits at home. You want to juice pineapple. You want to juice pomegranate. You want to have other juices on top of the ones that are in the plan. You can also do that. The juicing day is Friday, Sally. So look at your schedule. Friday is the juicing day, and it tells you in the chart, it tells you exactly what are the juices you're having on Friday. It's a liquid only day. There's no solids on Friday. There's no salads. There's no cooked vegetables. There's nothing. It's celery, smoothie, juices, 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 celery, juices. I'm taking another smoothie before bedtime. Is it okay? Yes, it is okay. Maria, sorry, it was cutting. If I want to repeat only the last days, so day 11, 12, and 13. Yeah, exactly. Day 11, 12, that's like today, tomorrow, and the last day. Yes. Celine, then knowing my case, when the nausea is horrible and I have protein, it's as if I took an anti-nausea medication. The reason for that is protein slows down the detox immediately, right? Completely slows down the detox. Nausea is a sign of very fast, very deep detox, lots of toxins coming out very quickly from the liver. So as soon as you give protein, which is not a deep detox food, it's going to slow that down and it's going to get rid of the feeling. I don't understand what's happening. Yeah. Also, if I'm slowing down, I do exactly like the 3 days, including legumes and quinoa. Yeah, you would go straight into clean eating. I would remove the legumes because those with all your bloating, like remove legumes and quinoa, remove all the grains and just do fruits, vegetables, and animal protein and avocado. How about spinach soup on Friday? No, Friday is just juices, nothing cooked. I guess if you do the spinach soup raw, potentially, but nothing cooked on Friday. What day are we today again? Today's day 11. So it's day 11 from when we started the program together, but it's day 9 of when you started detoxing on Thursday. So no blended soups on Friday with the juices. No, just juices. Maria, I have been peeing a lot. I woke up twice during my sleep yesterday. Is this a detox symptom? Yes, it could also be something as simple as you're drinking too many liquids too close to bedtime. So what I would do with that is not drink your tea or your lemon water after dinner and see if that fixes that. If that happens and you don't wake up, then what I would do is have those teas earlier in the day and don't have them after dinner anymore. Okay, clear. Thank you. Perfect. Are peas allowed in day 7 and 8? Yeah, peas are allowed anytime. Hajat, I ruined the day today. I went out with my team at work and had a lunch, food, fries, and some veggies. I didn't eat much, but I felt the oil so bad inside me. Do I have to restart the 9 days again? Yes, Hajat, I'm going to have to say yes. You have to restart them again. But I mean, this was an experiment, right? And it was an experiment that showed you, without a shadow of a doubt, what kind of ingredients are being used in restaurants outside, and you could feel it immediately. So you just pick up and keep going. You'll explain Friday in detail tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow's just about juicing day. I will explain it in detail tomorrow. Are potatoes today open quantities? Yes, they are. So on the guide, we follow which recipe? For what, Hiba? Depends for which recipe. What are you referring to?
Sorry, I just opened the speaker because it's just easier.
Yeah, go ahead.
what I mean is like the eating plans for the days, because I'm just a bit confused with the days, with the day numbering.
Okay.
So in the eating plans, when you say day 7 to 8, that this is from the time we started to follow the detox, not from when we started the program, right?
So when I'm saying if you want to repeat, you mean days 7 to 9?
Yeah.
Okay, that's days 11 to 13. So if you're just looking at the from when you started the detox, okay, you started on Thursday. So today's day 7 only of the detox. But if you're looking
Okay.
at started the program on the chart, it's from when we started the program. So that's days 11, 12, and 13. So if you want to speed up the process, you would do the last 3 days, which are 11, 12, 13.
Okay. All
Is
right. Thank you.
that clear? Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Celine, by the way, is it possible that my joint pain is already getting better, or am I imagining? Yes, it is very, very possible. Amazing. Sally, sometimes I feel full even though I haven't eaten all my meals. For example, today I had lemon water, cucumber juice, berry smoothie, snack, another smoothie, and another snack, and now I don't feel like having lunch or dinner. This is perfectly okay. You want to start to listen to your body. You can see to what extent it's about quality of food, not quantity. When you're eating this way, when you're eating these incredibly nutrient-dense fruits and vegetables, your cells, that's what we're doing. We're feeding your cells very, very deeply. They get filled up, and then you lose that hunger, right? You lose the call for more food. You lose the cravings. So that's perfectly fine. Meha, I've been wanting to add a lot more salt to my food. Is that okay? Yes, as long as you're using sea salt or like Himalayan salt, as long as you're using the right salt. Salt is a very important mineral that we need. It's been demonized wrongly for so many reasons, but it is an actual mineral that our body needs. The problem is we've all been using the wrong salt. So use the right salt, add as much as you need. Um, should I restart them now or after Friday? No, I would say now. I would say go ahead and restart it now, Hajar. Can I have cauliflower and colored bell peppers tomorrow? Yes, you can. Cauliflower was anytime, and bell peppers was also anytime. If I eat extra apples in the morning, do I still have to do the evening one? If you feel better doing them in the morning, yeah, that's okay. By this time, you're all gonna sort of start to sort of tweak the formula a bit, which is fine. We have to just start with a basic formula and then everybody kind of creates their own version of it. So that's perfectly fine. I ruined the day today and I had protein with the veggies as I was very hungry. What is the effect of it? You can do worse than having protein, right? So protein is just a slower form of detox. So just get up tomorrow and keep going. You wouldn't have to restart anything. Just keep going. I had zucchini soup instead of the spinach over cucumber noodles. Is that okay? Yes. Yes, yes, you can do that tomorrow also. Is it okay that sea salt is iodized? Sea salt should not be iodized. The sea salt should be natural, pure. So make sure you're getting one that is not iodized. Any other questions, ladies? Please don't forget to share a thought model. Your brain is going to resist this. You're not going to want to do it because it means you have to face something about your actions, your thoughts, your behaviors, something in your life where you thought potentially maybe this is just how it is. I can't do anything about it. Maybe you're being a little bit, passive, like I can't change this. And now you realize that you do have the power to change it, and it's sort of a wake-up call. So it is very normal to feel like I don't want to face this because now I realize that I can actually change something that I thought was not in my power. So don't let that thought sabotage you from experiencing the power of this exercise and the power of this tool. So, like I said, anything can be a circumstance, anything. Okay. And if you have one that's a little bit more private, by all means, email me your practice thought model and I can still walk you through it in an email. Can I switch to another smoothie rather than the berry smoothie? Not yet, Sally. Not yet. All right. Hi. Email me, please.
Dana, sorry بس عشان it's easier مش عارفة I'm messaging someone else. I just wanted to ask you, the cough is getting worse every day.
Yeah.
It's non-stop. أنا أصلا I'm not a cougher يعني.
Yeah.
I cough like there's no tomorrow ونفسي توقف لأن مش عارفة أتكلم حتى.
Right.
ف
So
what can I do?
use the oils all over your chest, as
Okay,
much as you need. I would also use castor oil all over your chest.
okay,
It helps.
okay.
Something else you can do at night if your husband doesn't mind is to put slices of onion on the bottoms of your feet and put a sock
لا
on.
ممكن يقتلني لا صعبة قوي.
So not bad. I would stick with those
خلاص
things.
I will try these. Okay.
Okay.
خلاص. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Zainab, please email me. I have an outing Friday night. Will I be exhausted after the juicing? Potentially, because all of you are going to take the detoxing to a deeper level. You might find either on Friday or the day after that if you've had some detox withdrawal symptoms, you might find them coming back. So there's no way to know, Perry. Potentially. Yeah. I would say rest though. Those of you who don't work or not in Dubai, those of you who are in Egypt, I would say really, really protect your energy on this day. Uh, Stay at home, relax. You owe it to yourself. It's going to be a deep detox day. There's nothing wrong with prioritizing what you need to do and taking care of yourself and saying no, right? It is a deep day on Friday. Sally, is it normal to feel bloated and sometimes my stomach with still very very early on in the process. You can still feel bloated, still feel the funny noises. If you're still getting bloated, you remember you can use castor oil pack at night. You can do the full-on pack with the water bottle, or you can just massage the castor oil during the day whenever you feel the bloating come on to find some relief. Yeah. It didn't do much with me, the castor oil. Did you do the castor oil pack, Neriman, or just castor oil on its own? I would just do without the patch. I would just take a nice big chunk of castor oil, massage it. This is what I do. Massage it from right under your rib bone right here all the way down your abdominal. And I just put on an old t-shirt that I press down and lie down in the bed. You could put a hot water bottle on top of it or not. But depending on how bloated you are, it could take a few hours to feel relief. If you do it right before bed, it could take all night and you just feel the relief when you wake up in the morning. Castor oil on the tummy is magic. Yeah, the patch is a little bit too complicated. Put it directly on your stomach, and it should feel thick and sticky. Directly on, put a light texture, like not a light color. I mean, like a light, very flimsy kind of t-shirt, maybe that you might have an old one. Stick it down and let the castor oil do its magic. Yeah, that one, I tried that. It's more effective to just put the castor oil straight on your stomach, okay? Press down your t-shirt and let the castor oil do what it needs to do. Yeah. Any other questions, ladies? You're welcome. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Tomorrow is our last session for this week. We don't have sessions on the weekend, just a reminder. And then next week is our last week of daily sessions. So next week we have sessions every single day. After next week, we switch to just 2 sessions a week. I'll be sending reminders, but just so you know. Our sort of intense learning 3 weeks ends in a week, and then the remaining time we have together until March, until the Eid, until March 27th, we will just do 2 sessions, Sunday and Tuesdays together. All right. All right, ladies. See you all tomorrow. Good night.